Hi, welcome to the inaugural podcast episode for Curves and Vows, a wedding podcast helping couples getting married who exist in larger bodies, and for any wedding vendors who want to learn how to work with this specific market. And this is episode number 1. Okay, so I want to get into why I started this podcast and what it means to me as someone who exists in a larger body. I remember when I was getting married, I had a lot of stuff going on in my life where I didn't feel like I was included in the wedding industry, which is kind of crazy. I lived in a small town in Ontario, and the only places where you could find wedding dresses were in boutique shops. Back then, 2011, those were like the pinnacle designing like places where you would go to get a gown. Um, you really wouldn't have a lot of options. And so I just had these random shops, and the sample sizes that they had were really tiny. And it made me feel like I wasn't invited to be a part of the wedding industry and that I should just take what I can get. And it was very disheartening. And there's a lot of shame associated with existing in a larger body put on us by society. And so I felt very upset and like, what am I doing getting married? Because I'm not conventionally attractive. So that was pretty disheartening for me. And then the thing that really nudged me into really starting to talk about this was I had been chatting with a couple who wanted to hire me for their wedding day, but I was out of their price point. Totally natural. It happens. And they went with a photographer who was less expensive and didn't know how to photograph their bodies. And when I saw their engagement photos, I became so red hot mad. I was like, what is happening? And I was just looking through the photos, and these couples don't know any different. As a side note, sidebar, people who exist in larger bodies, we don't look at ourselves in the mirrors often. We don't know how we look. We don't know how we're supposed to pose. So when we're looking at photos, we don't know our best angles because no one talks about it. No one is an expert in this. No one is helping us look better because we should be hiding our bodies if we're going to listen to what people in society are saying. Like, if you go onto TikTok and you look at any videos of women or men who are feeling themselves who exist in larger bodies, specifically women, you will see just hordes of people commenting, and it's both genders, that they should be hiding themselves, that they shouldn't be happy in their body. So what are you doing? Why? And so to get back to my original point is that there's just so much shame when it comes to existing in a larger body. So when you can't find sample dresses and you are told, and this was said to me, just, put the dress up to your body. Maybe we should pin it. And then you'll have a rough idea as to how the dress is going to look on you. No, because when you exist in a larger body, pinning something to the front of you and not knowing how it's going to fit not only on your chest, but your waist, your hips, you maybe have larger thighs. I have a butt. It's called a sway back in case anyone's curious. She is not small. I am convinced, low key, that I have the largest butt in my whole family. It's crazy. Like, my mom has none. Where was she when I was being born? 'Cause I have one. So how can I pin a dress to the front of me? How can I do that? So I'm looking at these photos that this photographer took of this couple, and I am just flabbergasted at how bad they are and how they didn't know how to pose the couple and how they cropped way too tight to the photos, to the couple, I mean, and they made them look larger. And then I was looking at the posing and I was going through the carousel and I was just like, this person has broken so many cardinal rules of photography when it comes to photographing someone who exists in a larger body that I was like, what am I doing? Why am I not talking about this more? I'm an actual low-key expert on this because one, I exist in it, but two, I've had so many plus-size couples who work with me that I now know the best angles to photograph plus-size people in, and I know how to make them look great. And the end game isn't to make plus-size people look small, because that is an actual physical impossibility, but it's to make us look the best that we can. And people invest so little time in trying to figure out how to make plus-size people look good that there's hardly any information on the internet how to do this. And so I was just sitting there on my cell phone, just epiphanies hitting me left and right. And I just thought to myself, there's no one else out here who's doing this. There's no one who's talking about this. There's so much shame associated with existing in a larger body that no one wants to touch it. I'm just like, you know what? I guess I have to be the one. I guess I'm the person. I have to stand up. I'm also an Enneagram 8 in case anyone is Enneagrams. And so I was just like, yeah, I guess I'm it. I guess I'm the person who has to do this. I have to stand up and I have to start talking about this, which is why I have started my podcast. It is born out of sheer frustration, both what I went through when I was engaged and trying to find stuff that would fit me, and then seeing the disservice that plus size people are given if their images are shown, which is a whole other episode that's coming, uh, about how we are completely not shown in any wedding images on publications. And so I was just like, cool, let's go. Like, let's do it. So now that you know a little bit about me and how I get little fires in my belly and how committed I am to bringing awareness to couples who exist in larger bodies, I want to discuss some other things about plus size people but in association with the wedding market itself. So, what is actually considered plus size? I looked it up, and size 14 and above is considered plus size. In case anyone is curious, I'm a size 18. So, I am still a very much plus size person. About a year and a half ago, I was a size 24. I am on GLP-1 Mounjaro, but I started that because of other health issues. It had nothing to do with my weight because I've done the work. I have a therapist. So yeah. And did you know that if you're a size 14 and above, not only are you considered plus size, but the latest statistics that are like 4 or 5 years old, so we don't have a true number, is that 67% of American women wear a size 14 or larger. So if you're thinking about this, with wedding industry terms, 67% of women who are getting married exist in a larger body. And yet you do not see us in any of like Google searches. When you search a wedding on Instagram or Pinterest, you have to scroll to be able to find a plus size body. There's not a lot of education for photographers or planners or anyone on how to work with plus size couples. And it's just crazy to me. Um, the global plus size clothing market was valued at approximately $311 billion in 2023, and it's projected to reach $412 billion by 2030, which is insane. And in the United States alone, the plus size market is estimated to be worth around $58 billion annually. We're spending money. There's a market for us, but yet people are not talking to us or learning how to work with us or showing us anywhere. And I don't know about you, but I'm seeing less and less of our body type because we do have more of a conservative administration. And when people are more conservative, then the atmosphere around plus size bodies is even more covered in shame. It's a lot to unpack. I'm sorry that my first episode is so heavy. Like, I am a naturally sunny, happy person, but when I really think about all of this, it leaves me frustrated. Women make up 49% of the market in 2023, and we are demanding stylish and fashionable clothing in larger sizes. There's a market. here for people who exist in larger bodies, and yet, we're largely ignored. I did a TikTok video a while back. I should really do it again or share it again, where I discussed the clothing options that plus size people have when they're getting married. Most of the time, if a place says that they carry plus size samples, they carry maybe up to 2 sizes or 2 samples. They don't have like a robust um, amount of samples for a bride to try on. And that's just from like me going around Houston with one of my friends who exists in a larger body and us trying to find dresses for her. This isn't like all across the United States or Canada or anywhere else. But we are not given a lot of options. And a lot of the times, the options that we're given all look the same. There's a specific dress type. It's A-line, covered in lace, like we want to hide our bodies, and we all look the same. I really need to repost this TikTok video so that way you can see it, because it is crazy. What else do we want to say about this? So we have a strong and active plus size community, and we are a large market, and the wedding vendors ignore us. So what is going to happen with this podcast? Why am I doing this beyond my personal experiences? I, again, was once that plus size bride, and I had to fight to find my own gown for my wedding day. But I also had a photographer who didn't post any of my photos to her social media after I got married, but she certainly did share the weddings that were previous to mine and after mine, and they were all people who existed in smaller bodies. I also see as a photographer that plus size bodies aren't shared in major publications, or if we are, the acceptable plus size person that's allowed to be shared doesn't have any double chin, doesn't have too large of arms, doesn't have an apron belly. So you are, I guess, what I would call like the acceptable fat. You are not actually really large. And then I'm going to do my next episode that I'm going to talk about is what happened with a local wedding publication, because I was working with a specific gown shop owner and planner, and we were trying to get more visibility of plus size bodies in their magazine for print. And that did not go the way that we thought that was going to go. So yeah, all of this has led to me wanting to do this podcast. Plus size does not mean that we are less than. We are important, and we are smart, and we are fashionable, and we want to be included. We want to see ourselves, and we are not unattractive. There are so many beautiful, incredible plus size people that I know that feel the way I feel. We feel ignored, underrepresented, and I want to make space for us. And I also want to bring on vendors who share my mission with me, can talk about it, like gown shop owners, other photographers, videographers, suit people. There's so much that I can get into, hair and makeup artists that can share their experiences and also help couples who exist in larger bodies work their body in a specific way so they look amazing on camera, but also know how to pick for certain vendors or where to go shop for stuff. So that way they can have the very best experience. So yeah, I know that this episode is just over 15 minutes, but I just wanted to explain why I've started it, the trajectory of where this podcast is going to go, and my mission. So if you love this, please stick around. There's going to be more episodes. It's going to be amazing. And if you're a photographer or videographer, I have started a workshop called Elevated and Inclusive. And I am teaching photographers and videographers and content creators how to not only pose and work with plus size couples, but also how to communicate with them, because it is different. So if you're interested in any of that, I will be posting links to that too. I do have a workshop coming up in March of next year in the Houston area. So yeah, stick around for that. Thank you for being here for my very first podcast episode. I hope I wasn't too awkward, and I can't wait for the next one, so stick around.